I don't know if I'm zoomed in. Let me just check here. Yeah, okay, it looks like I'm zoomed out. All right. So, first off, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to all of my YouTube subscribers. You're looking at Hurricane Irma preparations or the aftermath thereof, Hurricane Irma preparations, and the Hughes Compound Southern Command. So, the entranceway, or if you're formal, the foyer, and what is the dining room, but we don't use as the dining room because we use this area as the dining room. And I moved the table over so I could get stuff out. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you folks. We're having Thanksgiving at the house here. So it's just going to be my wife, my daughter, and the in-laws coming over. So they kind of a small group, but we're kept everything in the house. One, hurricane season. Two, because I need to pressure wash and clean up the deck around the pool, which I did. And so I want to thank all of my patrons over on Patreon. So if you want to subscribe and support the channel and support my podcasting, blog posting, experiments, tech, whatever, should I spin the camera around? If I push this button, I don't know how to do it. Darn it. I don't see the option to flip the camera here. Sorry. So I want to thank Andy Meows, John Hullinger, Umar Sear, Matt Shamp, and Tom O, who's the Token Linux guy, who's a recent subscriber. And anybody wants to subscribe or check out my social media, please go to flyingrich.com. So flyingrich.com is where my Twitter, my YouTube, and my Google Plus posts are. And you can also find a link to Patreon, which of course you can go directly to Patreon, which is patreon.com/flyingrich. So, all right, this all stuff is pool furniture, etc. that needs to go out there. And this is the Hughes Compound Southern Command official bird. So it's hcsc.bird. That's Pebbles. And I just want to take you around and show you what's going on here. So, of course, I have no man cave, so this half of the garage is my man cave where my 3D printer is, where I have a clamshell for my MacBook Pro, and one of the feet broke. So I found a foot close to it, cut it, stretched it, kind of 100% redesigned it basically. Doesn't look so good, but it does work. That's the second one I printed, just to see if I had something better. I think my feed rate is a little fast. So there's been some fog overnight here. I pressure washed. And I didn't realize there's two oil reservoirs on this Honda pressure washer I rented. So I had to bring it back because I checked. I didn't know there were two oil reservoirs. And so this is pressure washed, but this part of the driveway I didn't get. It actually gets super black and super slimy. So like if it's moist, the front sidewalk here, you would fall on your butt. It's like being on, Teflon. And the landscapers came yesterday and mowed. So I gotta organize the hoses that I left around because I didn't plan on them being here. Along with that, actually so today I need to treat the water system. It sounds like the water hardener, or softener, I'm sorry. The water softener is cycling, which, why is that not focusing? There's a little tick mark right here, and you can see as it goes. This is purely powered by a water wheel. Why is that not focusing? I gotta figure that out. I have no idea. So water turns a little impeller, so there's no electrical timer or anything on that. And so it's a 2-tank system. So what it does is it changes the valves so that one tank is always softening water, and when it flushes the other tank, it's flushing it with water that's softened. I don't know which one's active or not at this point. In case you guys aren't familiar with wells, this is just a pressure reservoir. In electronics, it'd be a capacitor. We got the pump here. The actual well is out back by the tiki hut. So there's, I don't know where the pipe goes. And that's a check valve. Where's it? Check valve right there. So there's a number of check valves in the system. It's better to water the lawn with water out of the well that isn't treated, because they don't need, the grass and plants don't need the stuff for that. So what happens here, basically water gets softened, so any hard minerals get taken out. Unfortunately, we do have like calcium and lime going on. That's a pit tab of chlorine. So there's a little bit of a bypass on here going. So chlorine gets introduced into the water, and then it goes into the carbon tank. So the chlorine is supposed to combine with the sulfur and then get pulled out in the carbon. And the water softener, basically, I'm kind of skipping. From here it goes in the house, which unfortunately goes up in that valve there. And one day the landscapers closed that valve and we had no water in the house. And I was out of town. This is the brine tank, which means salt in human terms. So the water will, what'll happen is water will pump from there into here. It'll set, and then it'll suck it back, and then it'll rinse through. There's plastic pellets in there. And what it is it gets ionized, and then the metals stick to the plastic balls and then gets washed out. And that's these hoses here. Likewise, this is powered electrically. If you guys ever have anything like this and have questions about it, I can tell you all about it and go into it more detailed. These things will cost you hundreds of dollars to service. There's a valve pack, and it's just a bunch of O-rings, and it gets driven in and out. There's a timer under here, and there's a coin cell battery in here. So what this is telling you right now, it's 2 days to regeneration. Basically, it flushes water through the system. So that is now the highly secure, top secret Hughes Compound Southern Command Water System, or HC dot, I don't know what that would be. So further on back here, along with the pressure washing. So Florida, you get a lot of masonry. So this wall here was mostly black. I probably should have taken pictures beforehand, and I did this one tile, I didn't do the rest, but I'm going over to the pool. So the pool pump here, this is the filter where there's a cartridge filter. I don't know what the heck happened. There's like a pressure relief valve here. I don't know if the pressure was excessively high or something, and I was afraid I had to take this apart because I've tried once before. It was kind of hard. I had a pool guy come and do it. But there's like a pressure relief valve here, and water was spraying out of it. So I turned the circuit breaker off, which is in that box over there. And I'm waiting for the part to come to my local mom and pop hardware store. So over here, the pool area, which you saw from inside the house. The problem is, I don't know if you can see, but the water, the concrete is beveled away from the pool, and then there's this L-shaped layer around. The pool is all screened in, because in Florida they think they have bugs. I don't know if they're correct or not. So unfortunately, after I pressure washed, stuff got in the pool, and I haven't been running the pump since. So it's like 24, 36 hours. It's funny, I can see a little bit of a green tint to the water. The water is like gin clear here all the time. It's pretty amazing. I do have some chlorine. I think I'm just going to dump some chlorine in the pool because I can't run the pump. So back to the water drainage issue. So there's channel drains along here and going over here. So the water will run into that, and before it gets towards the house, will run out. The outer area, I don't know if this, was added after the house was built, but this L-shaped outer area has almost no pitch to it. And if it does, it won't drain after the block here. So I grabbed a diamond hole saw I had because I put in a soap dispenser in the kitchen. I couldn't tell you how long that was to drill that hole, but I only got, like 2 inches in from the surface. Uh, that might be a solution. I don't know. So part of the pressure washing is I pressure washed all of the pavers around the tiki hut. They were black. Pressure wash that stand for the bird bath, that bird bath over there, and that chair. And then there's an area over here for this little garden area. And I have the landscapers because a lot of times I work remote. That just doesn't look like it's focusing. Oh, is there an AF button? Is that it? Oh, crap. Okay. The landscapers let this overgrow here. I got landscapers. I hate, it just sounds so cocky and arrogant when you say that. I have them because I can't guarantee I'm going to be here all the time. The problem is they let this whole area overgrow, and then they went mad with spraying. So here's, a decorative plant coming up, and it looks like it got sprayed. So they went a little mad with the spraying, which is a pain in the butt. There's not super small. There was a plant coming up over here like these guys, and they sprayed it. Well, crap happens, but it's just happening too much. There's somebody, I had them over for dinner, and they brought me a plant, and there were 3 plants in the plant. So there was this one. Oh yeah, this, and this one, I couldn't tell you how many blossoms it's had. Yeah, these yellow blossoms. And of course, there's something that looks like grass that they thought was a weed. I planted over there and completely sprayed. So, oh crap, this is a weed. The problem with pulling these weeds is you got to pull them slowly and close to the base so you get the roots, because otherwise they're just going to keep growing. I don't know what happened. This is a chenille plant. There's dwarf chenille up front and full-size chenille, and that full-size chenille plant's going crazy. There's red, I don't know, like cattails that hang down off it. It's kind of attractive. I don't know what happened, but this thing is dying, and it doesn't look like a result of, see, stuff goes brown if you spray it with Roundup, and the leaves are green. I don't know if it's too much water or what. We've had a lot of rain, but again, I've got a number of them that I've planted here. If you see, it's funny. I like this plant. These green and white leafy ones, they grow like mad. They're almost like weeds. And I got a super big one. And again, I'm not claiming like I know all this stuff. I don't know if you can see over there. There's a super big one. Back here, I don't know if there's more bugs. The front of the house, which is more shady because the front of the house is to the north. These plants are really doing great. This is what the chenille plant looks like. Actually looks much better up front. I'm going to go over here. That's what it looks like, those green tails. And that fern there is doing mad good. Identical species, not doing mad good. So here's, I was showing you the smaller version of the plant over there, where I have a couple of them. This one is easy 7 feet tall. Looks pretty cool. Stuff like right here, so the pool pump area, and I found the rabbits or whatever other animals don't come up here to eat stuff on me. So I'll cut and I'll transplant items here and then plant them somewhere else, move them. So here's some more, and again, I don't know the species of that. Buddy of mine, the buddy that gave me the plants for that one day, asked me if he could have some cuttings of the chenille plant, and I got one here and one up front of the house in a pot that's doing good. Here's an aloe plant, and it was doing super good, but then it rained a whole bunch. We had a whole lot of standing water, and it needs, more dry and more sunlight, which it wasn't getting there. So I put it over here. Looks like it's doing better, but it had a whole root system, and there are like 5 clumps of it that I transplanted here, and they're not surviving. Eh, Whole survival of the fittest. That is, I knocked off like the top section of one of these, and I just jammed it in there, and it started growing. So I was kind of happy. In case I recorded this earlier. I had peppers growing from seeds, but between the heat, drought, and excessive rain, we've had a little bit much of everything. They didn't do good. I pulled them all out. Probably need. I think I get too much sun in the summer right here. I'm hoping I'm getting enough sun for that aloe plant. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and my friend Don, that I'm giving the chenille plant. There's one up front. This is a little bit bigger. It's got to be propped up straight because it's on an angle now, and now the top section is growing straight, so it's going to be bent if I don't straighten it up. Don had given me an ear of a cacti, and this was pretty cool. The ear quickly sprouted 2 other ears. I don't know, which way is it better if I shoot it like that? Here's Christmas cactus, which is either from my grandmother or further down, and it's every time a piece falls off, I pot it again. I did some volunteer work in the Keys, and this is a semaphore cactus, Hurricane Irma cleanup, volunteer work in the Keys. And there are a bunch of them laying on the ground, and I took one, didn't know what it was, and it's sprouting these ears like mad, which is very cool. I'm very excited about that. I'd love to take one of these ears and pot it and see if it grows. I'm assuming it would. And I kind of feel silly because there are, I don't know, maybe a dozen ears on the ground, and I took one because I didn't know if I should or shouldn't or whatever. They probably threw them out. And here's a super small gecko. And in case you're not a Floridian, there's geckos and frogs all over, and my daughter's deathly scared of them. So, yeah, this is the backyard of the Hughes Compound Southern Command. Oh, wow, beautiful day. Gorgeous. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Remember, look, if you're an American, you're in the greatest country in the world, and God has blessed us. Remember what you're thankful for, all of the good things that you have. Life can be tough at certain times. The other thing I want to leave you guys with is, and I may butcher the quote, well, 2 things. Be kind to everyone you meet, because everybody is fighting a battle that you know nothing about. You may think you know someone, or you may think, I'm sorry for, talking and not talking into the camera. But I think that's great advice, because somebody may have some sort of reaction to something you say, and it may seem a little odd, but you have no idea what's going on in their personal life, because maybe they're not sharing things with you. The other thing is something that's been true my entire life, and it's unfortunate this time I'm going to be telling you. I've been a month since I've worked last. My last contract ended October 13th. So the thing that's always been true my entire life, and that's the wellhead, in case you're wondering. So the Hughes Compound Southern Command water system starts right there. Usually I put something like a little doghouse over it. And I really need to memorize this quote, so I'm going to be paraphrasing it, and forgive me. Ooh, female red-tailed hawk. I was wondering when she was going to show up. Yeah, I don't know if you heard that scream. But since I moved into this house, which is 4 years ago now, there's a female red-tailed hawk that this is part of her territory. I think I see her. That's always around. Occasionally I see a male hawk with her. Oh, there sounds like two hawks. I hear one off this way, and then I don't know if that's a hawk or not. Sometimes I see it perching in these pines, and I hate to be a tree hater, but I think I hear two hawks. The pines continuously drop needles. I don't know if you can see them on the you can see them on the tiki hut and in the yard. It's just such a freaking mess. And the palms are a pain in the butt because you got to keep trimming the lower leaves and trimming I don't know if that's seed or whatever. You got to trim that out of the tree also. So back to the other quote. I believe it's Matthew, and somebody said, why should you worry? Because God loves you, God cares about you, and God takes care of the birds, and they don't reap and sow, and God cares more about you, so why should you worry about things? And really, money, food, whatever, sustaining yourself. I know I butchered that quote immensely, but that's been something that's been true my whole entire life, and I try to be happy, be faithful, and not to worry. And that's the message I really wanted to leave you guys with. Is I don't know what's going on in your lives, but I just want to let you know, like, hey, we hit some trouble spots. The last 2 years for me have been rough financially, and I just want to be thankful that I do have skills, that I am able to work. I have been able to make enough money to sustain myself. I'm going to take a walk. Okay, that's the HCSC.SO, Hughes Compound, Southern Compound, Southern Outpost, where I had the Piaware running. Some of these guys, I think, these are either bitter or sour oranges. I have no idea. Or, because the ones on the ground are super orange. So, and there's been some wild grapes here. I don't know which ones are the wild grapevines or not. But this tree, it just went crazy with the fruit. I've never seen in the 4 years I've been here this much fruit. Not like I'm Mr. Agriculture or prune or whatever, that I know what I'm doing. I've done a limited amount of pruning. Like, this limb is usually like 10 feet in the air. And it's because of all of this fruit. The fruit's sour, and let's see, this tree, I don't see any on it. And not like I'm bad-mouthing the landscapers, but this tree had, I believe, limes on it, and I don't see the limes. But, if somebody took them, good for them, because my family acts like anything that comes out of the backyard. Oh, here's one. Out of the backyard is toxic waste. So, maybe the landscapers grab some, and good for them, because nobody else here wants them. And, boy, they could have grabbed a whole basket of these guys. Yeah, that's the red-tailed hawk, in case you just heard it. So, holy cow, there's a super amount of fruit here. A couple of things. I do have, it's some sort of black mold. I don't think it's the toxic black mold that people think about, but on a lot of the plants, I've got it. And yeah, you can see on that leaf there, and these leaves, there's, they're not bright green, there's some black. They need to be sprayed for the mold. And so I got to get somebody out here to spray the property for a number of different things. But yeah, there's a super amount of fruit here, and it's just sour. It's like a lemon. But anyhow, guys, happy Thanksgiving. I've been out. In case you saw my other video, the president came into town, and I don't mean to shove politics down your throats, and I apologize if you guys are of differing opinions than I am. And if you do want to engage me in any kind of political conversation, I'd be happy to talk politics with you because that is my sport. Let's see. I don't know if I spin this around if I'm going to frame myself properly. So I'm sorry about that because let's see. I don't know which button here because it's a new phone, not that button. Yeah, there's an autofocus button. Yeah, I don't know if I can pause and flip. Hold on. Yeah, it's not pause and flip. Okay. Anyhow, yeah, I was out yesterday to support the president, welcome into the neighborhood. And if I do have good friends with differing political opinions, I try not to get political on this channel here. And I've been thinking about doing another channel. Oh yeah, and I had to pressure wash all of that because it was pretty bad. It looks great now, but stuff's a lot of work. So let me know, guys, if you don't want to hear politics, if you do want to hear politics, my patrons especially, because you guys care enough to support me. Let me know if, what kind of content you want to see. From what I understand, you guys want to see tech stuff, and I will be doing a little bit more tech. I keep saying that. I've kind of had fits and starts on some things, and one of them is because the 3D printer is being a pain in the butt. But yeah, here's some of the area. This stuff it was completely black, whether it's dirt and mold and whatever. It looked more like the dark ones there, which that's just kind of dirt that pooled up. And I could babble on and on and on, but I'm not. I'm going to go. Again, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to my patrons and all of my YouTube subscribers. I greatly appreciate it. FlyingRich.com if you want to check me out. And all of my links are there. And Patreon.com/FlyingRich if you want to subscribe. And guys, again, God bless all of you. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're having a good one.